how Netflix's binge model broke cable's appointment television. Picture this. It's Thursday night, 2012. You're rushing home from work, grabbing dinner on the fly, all because you cannot miss the latest episode of your favorite show at exactly 9 p.m. Miss it, and you're either waiting for a rerun next week or desperately trying to catch up through illegal downloads. This was appointment television, the iron grip that cable companies held over American entertainment for decades. Viewers organized their entire lives around TV schedules, and cable executives loved it, because predictable viewing meant predictable advertising revenue. But in early 2013, a DVD-by-mail company turned streaming service was about to detonate a nuclear bomb in the entertainment industry. Netflix didn't just release their first original series, House of Cards, episode by episode like traditional television. They dropped all 13 episodes at once, coining the term that would destroy an entire industry: binge-watching. Why wait for your show's time slot when you can watch entire seasons on demand? This wasn't just a new feature. This was an execution. The cable television industry in 2013 was an $80 billion juggernaut that seemed utterly untouchable. Time Warner Cable, Comcast, and DirecTV dominated American living rooms with iron-fisted control over content distribution. The appointment television model wasn't just their business strategy, it was their entire identity. Shows premiered at specific times, creating shared cultural moments where millions of Americans simultaneously watched the same content. The season finale of Lost drew 13.5 million viewers in 2010, all watching at the exact same moment. Cable companies charged networks premium rates for primetime slots, while networks paid billions for exclusive rights to broadcast major sports, news, and entertainment. The entire ecosystem was built on scarcity and scheduled programming. DVRs had started to chip away at this model, with 40% of American households owning one by 2013. But even time-shifted viewing kept people within the cable ecosystem. Cable executives dismissed Netflix as a complementary service, something customers used to catch up on old shows, not a direct competitor. Reed Hastings, Netflix's CEO, had been quietly building toward this moment for years, but even he probably didn't anticipate how quickly the binge model would become an existential threat to cable's core business. When Netflix released House of Cards on February 1st, 2013, with all episodes immediately available, they weren't just launching a show, they were launching a revolution. The decision came after Netflix analyzed viewing patterns and realized that when people discovered shows on their platform, they wanted to watch multiple episodes in sequence, not wait a week between installments. This insight seemed obvious in retrospect, but it was radical at the time because it completely inverted the fundamental logic of television distribution. Traditional TV spread content across time to maximize advertising opportunities and keep viewers returning week after week. Netflix realized that giving viewers what they actually wanted, complete control over their viewing experience, would create deeper engagement and loyalty than artificial scarcity ever could. The results were immediate and devastating to cable's model. Within the first weekend, Netflix reported that some viewers had already finished the entire 13-episode season. Social media exploded with discussions about the show, but instead of the typical week-by-week analysis that appointment television fostered, viewers were debating entire character arcs and seasonal plot developments. The binge release created more intense, concentrated buzz than traditional weekly releases, and Netflix's subscriber numbers started climbing rapidly. The traditional television industry initially dismissed Netflix's binge model as a gimmick that wouldn't scale. Cable executives argued that appointment television created shared cultural experiences that binge-watching couldn't replicate. They pointed to major events like the Super Bowl or the finale of Breaking Bad as proof that simultaneous viewing experiences were irreplaceable. Network programmers insisted that weekly releases built anticipation and sustained engagement better than binge dumps. But Netflix's data told a completely different story. Their analytics showed that binge viewers were more likely to complete entire seasons, more likely to immediately start new shows after finishing one, and more likely to remain subscribers long-term. When Netflix released Orange is the New Black in July 2013, again with all episodes immediately available, the pattern repeated. Viewers devoured entire seasons in single sittings, shared recommendations with friends, and most importantly, canceled their cable subscriptions at accelerating rates. Netflix's subscriber count grew from 29 million in early 2013 to 44 million by the end of the year, while traditional cable companies began reporting their first subscriber losses in decades. The binge model wasn't just changing how people watched TV. It was changing what people expected from entertainment, and cable companies had no way to compete without fundamentally destroying their own business model. Cable companies found themselves trapped in an impossible position. Their entire revenue structure depended on bundling channels, selling advertising based on appointment viewing, and maintaining exclusive content windows. To compete with Netflix's binge model, they would have to abandon the scarcity model that generated their profits. When viewers could watch entire seasons of high-quality original content for $8 per month on Netflix, the value proposition of 100-plus monthly cable bills became increasingly indefensible. Cable companies tried various desperate countermeasures throughout 2014 and 2015. They launched their own streaming platforms, offered more on-demand content, and negotiated with networks to release episodes online immediately after broadcast. But these efforts were too little, too late, and often cannibalized their core business. Comcast's decision to make episodes available online the day after broadcast actually accelerated cord cutting because it proved that appointment television was artificially imposed, not technically necessary. Meanwhile, Netflix doubled down on original programming and the binge model. They released House of Cards Season 2, Orange is the New Black Season 2, and new series like BoJack Horseman and Marco Polo, all with complete seasons available immediately. Their content budget exploded from $2 billion in 2013 to $5 billion in 2016, funded by rapidly growing subscription revenue that cable companies couldn't match without abandoning their fundamental business model. The psychological impact of binge-watching proved even more devastating to cable than the financial impact. Netflix had identified and satisfied a desire that viewers didn't even know they had: complete control over their entertainment experience. Once people experienced the ability to watch 3 episodes of a great show in one evening, or finish an entire season over a weekend, returning to appointment television felt like punishment. The weekly wait between episodes began to seem arbitrary and manipulative rather than part of the natural television experience. Netflix's viewing data revealed that when given the choice, viewers consistently preferred to consume content in large chunks rather than small weekly doses. This wasn't just about convenience. Binge-watching allowed viewers to maintain emotional and narrative momentum that weekly broadcasts interrupted. Complex shows with intricate plot lines and character development became more satisfying to watch when consumed in larger portions. Cable companies' attempts to create appointment television around major cultural events became less effective because audiences were developing different viewing habits and expectations. By 2016, the term binge-watching had entered common usage, and Netflix had trained an entire generation of viewers to expect immediate access to complete seasons of content. The numbers by 2017 told the story of an industry in freefall. Netflix had grown to 93 million subscribers worldwide, while traditional cable companies were hemorrhaging customers at unprecedented rates. ESPN, the crown jewel of cable programming, lost 13 million subscribers between 2013 and 2017. Cord cutting accelerated from roughly 400,000 households per year in 2012 to over 2 million per year by 2017. The demographic breakdown was even more terrifying for cable executives. Viewers under 35 were abandoning traditional television at rates approaching 20% annually. Netflix's binge model had created a generation gap in viewing habits that cable companies couldn't bridge. Younger viewers increasingly saw appointment television as an outdated inconvenience, while older viewers remained loyal to traditional formats, but were dying off or retiring to fixed incomes. Cable companies' attempts to launch their own streaming services with binge capabilities failed to stop the bleeding because they couldn't match Netflix's content investment or technical infrastructure. HBO Now, launched in 2015, gained subscribers but cannibalized HBO's cable revenue. CBS All Access similarly succeeded as a streaming platform while weakening CBS's bargaining position with cable distributors. The fundamental problem wasn't that cable companies couldn't create streaming services. The problem was that streaming services with binge-capable content were inherently more efficient and customer-friendly than the cable bundle model. Netflix's content strategy evolved beyond just the binge release model to create programming specifically designed for binge consumption. Shows like Stranger Things, The Crown, and later Squid Game were structured with cliffhangers and narrative pacing that encouraged marathon viewing sessions. Netflix's algorithms learned to recommend shows to viewers immediately after they finished binge-watching something else, creating seamless content consumption experiences that kept subscribers engaged for hours at a time. Their data showed that viewers who binged one complete season within a week of its release were 70% more likely to immediately start another Netflix original series. This created a virtuous cycle where binge viewers became Netflix's most valuable and loyal customers, while appointment television viewers gradually migrated away from cable. By 2019, Netflix was releasing over 100 original series per year, almost all following the complete season binge model. Traditional networks found themselves competing not just for viewers, but for the basic attention patterns that their business models required. When Game of Thrones ended in 2019, it marked perhaps the last appointment television event that truly dominated cultural conversation. Even HBO, the premium network most resistant to binge releasing, began experimenting with dropping multiple episodes of new series simultaneously. The COVID-19 pandemic in 2020 delivered the final killing blow to appointment television. With millions of people stuck at home, binge-watching became not just preferred, but essential for mental health and entertainment. Netflix added 37 million subscribers in 2020 alone, while cable companies accelerated their subscriber losses. Series like Tiger King, The Queen's Gambit, and Bridgerton became cultural phenomena precisely because they were available for immediate binge consumption when people needed distraction most. Traditional networks' attempts to maintain weekly release schedules during lockdowns seemed tone-deaf and out of touch with viewer needs. The pandemic proved that binge-watching wasn't just a luxury preference, but a fundamentally better way to consume serialized entertainment during times of stress or uncertainty. Even Disney Plus, launched in 2019, initially tried to maintain weekly releases for major series like The Mandalorian, but gradually shifted toward binge models for most content. By 2021, every major streaming platform had adopted some version of Netflix's binge release strategy, while cable companies were essentially reduced to sports and news distribution. Today, in 2023, appointment television exists primarily in the realms of live sports, news, and a handful of cultural event series. Netflix's binge model didn't just change how we watch TV. It revealed that appointment television was never about creating better entertainment experiences for viewers. It was about maximizing advertising revenue and maintaining artificial scarcity to prop up cable companies' business models. The industry that once seemed untouchable has been reduced to a shadow of its former self. Traditional cable subscriptions have fallen from 100 million households in 2013 to fewer than 65 million in 2023, while Netflix alone serves over 230 million subscribers globally. The phrase appointment television now sounds as antiquated as dial-up internet or video rental store. Netflix proved that when you give people what they actually want, immediate access to complete entertainment experiences, they'll abandon even deeply entrenched habits and systems. The cable industry's appointment television model wasn't killed by superior technology or cheaper pricing. It was killed by a simple recognition that artificial scarcity in the digital age is just artificial, and consumers will always choose abundance and control over restriction and scheduling. This wasn't just the disruption of a business model. This was the execution of an entire way of thinking about entertainment, and the companies that built their empires on appointment television never recovered.